Have you ever seen photos taken with the camera with the swing lens? Hi, it's Tuomas from Kamerastore. It's a beautiful day outside here in Tampere where our offices are at, and I figured this is the best opportunity to take this beautiful Panon Widelux f7 camera outside and shoot a roll of HP5 with it. So let's head down to the harbor and shoot some photos. But yeah, first I need to load this thing up. Should I say this out loud maybe? But this is my first time loading this camera and I tried to teach myself how to do it. Take it quite a bit down so we can then squeeze it under the camera. So the sprockets are on top of the, should be like this. And then it goes under again. Now I'm pulling the film, so even though the sprockets, the little brackets are there attaching to the sprockets, I'm pulling it quite straight up so the film actually moves and it doesn't harm the sprockets or rip them kind of apart. And now I'm attaching the end of the roll, like the beginning of the roll, into this little socket here. Okay, let's close it up. Nice and secure. Lock from here, and that should be secured. Wind it so that we can see number 1 in there. Now it's set to 1. Okay, let's head to shoot. It's definitely tricky to shoot with the wide angle and such a kind of panoramic view. So going through a little bit about the features this camera has, probably most known feature is the swing lens it has. So the lens swings through the frame and exposes the frame like that. Additionally to that, what I noticed, I was kind of thrown off a little bit by the kind of sharp edges of it and whatnot. Ultra wide 26mm lens. The image is so wide that your fingers end up into the frame. Luckily, I noticed this quite soon. That's why you might kind of see me holding it a bit funnily, because it's like you have to really be careful with the fingers and whatnot. But additionally, there's only 3 shutter speeds, so it's like 15th of a second, 2/50th of a second, and 1/25th of a second. So quite limiting in that sense. As said, 26mm ultra wide angle lens, f2.8, and from there it steps down to f11. So in this kind of weather, sunny weather, and I'm shooting ISO 400 film, everything's kind of set to max. So f11 constantly and 250th of a second constantly. And then I'm a bit lazy, so basically I'm trusting that I can pull it off, kind of correct the image later on. HP5 should be quite good when overexposing even 4 stops or 3 stops. One handy feature, as it is ultra wide lens, is that there's little like a bubble level, as you had to keep everything quite level to prevent the kind of rounding edges, distortion edges. Then like artistic choices matter, so you can point the camera in any direction, just embrace the distortions. 21 exposures I can take in total, so I'm now currently on 10. So let's continue a little bit and yeah. I'm waiting that the boat in there goes a bit further in the frame. This camera and 26mm lens that it has is amazing for this kind of landscapes. At least I enjoy myself with this, taking photos of this kind of landscapes where you have such a large, big negative space and then kind of leading lines into the focus point you want to kind of really kind of show off. In this case, that hotel and that kind of white building there, and you have the border here with the stones and whatnot really going into the image. So let's take a photo and see if we can actually make it concrete and can show it off. No. So we're finished with the roll. Let's get the film developed and head back to the office where we can take a closer look of the images. Here we are at the studio. We just scanned the negatives here using our VALOI kit and Sony A7R IV mirrorless digital camera with the Tamron 90mm macro lens, and after conversion I have the images here. I have to mention that after finishing the roll, it is extremely hard to get the film out and kind of roll it back to the canister. It's super tough. It took me maybe like good 5 minutes to take it out from here. There definitely was like little, how you say it, blistering in the finger. Other than that, it's really fun experience to use the camera. It was my first time, so I'm happily surprised that there was something usable actually to showcase you after all. Looking at the first image here, well, it's evident that it is super wide. I can basically have almost everything in the frame. I was surprised that this person here walking came into the frame. If I remember correctly, I didn't plan it, so must be that the viewfinder in the camera is actually a little bit tighter than the actual kind of final composition is. Something to kind of consider. So looking at if we want to zoom in to look at the detail here, everything's shot with the same settings. It was so bright outside, so there wasn't really much to do. So I overexposed the HP5 at least 1 to 2 stops. Going through the images here, I took a vertical photo, which definitely leaves you quite a bit of negative space on top of the frame. But yeah, I like it. I like the look. It's definitely like a kind of mobile look, social media look. Here's another image which I really like. Here you can see nicely how much actually the lens distorts when it goes, kind of exposes the frame. It's so like almost like, what is that, like 45-degree angle, bottom of the image and of course in the top. But the center of the frame looks really good. And it's definitely like a style and kind of look of the camera rather than any kind of fault here. This is also something kind of where I was kind of surprised that this little kind of hand rail came into the picture, because I tried to kind of lean over the fence and lean over the bar, but yeah, it ended up in there still. Here's the harbor. You can look at the grain and the detail. As it is ultra wide, so f11 is almost like everything from almost further than 1 meter is already like sharp, in focus and sharp. So you can kind of clearly see it here. Here I try to be fancy, fill the frame with leafage and whatnot, like these little bushes here, but looks a bit meh. Well, this is nice. You can kind of see that the center of the frame and everything in the distance in the horizon is actually straight. So that indicates, even though it's ultra wide, it doesn't distort that much or anything like that. And with this scenery, the little road continuing throughout the frame is just nice addition, and kind of makes the ultra wide look really nice. Here again, actually we can lower the exposure in this. I just scan these so I can lower these a little bit. No, okay, now we can actually see something from the sky. And this is one of the kind of the perks of the ultra wide look, and what actually makes it super fun also, because now we have the leading line here through the frame, these like little rocks going through the frame, and then we still have something interesting actually in the frame, so people in there and what. So this is something I really enjoy with the ultra wides and wide angles. And another vertical one. This is really nice because there's so much kind of going on. well, not going on, but there's something to see throughout the frame to the far distance. So people enjoying their beach days. And there was like a natural frame with the building here and the trees here, like little trees here. So you can kind of have, even though it's ultra wide, you can kind of narrow down the field of view a little bit, so your eyes are kind of targeted into something specific. It's really hard to kind of compare. Frame is similar to like X-Pan. Would still consider this being quite different cameras. This has the swing lens, and the X-Pan is standard, just kind of like a panorama view. This is fully mechanical. We have the downside that you have to really kind of, the loading is bit pain, and kind of there's like a learning curve to it. Definitely something that if you're a fan of the wide look and the negative size and the panoramic view, definitely I should consider this. So those were the images, and this was our video with the Widelux F7 camera. Comment down below if you have any similar experiences with this camera, or in general, I'm super interested to hear your thoughts about the camera and the whole look and swing lenses and whatnot. And additionally to that, please comment down below if you have anything you wish to see us using, any accessories, cameras, lenses, even digital ones. We are open to anything. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.